Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.
Are negative Google reviews hurting your business? Don't let unfair feedback cost you customers. At Webamax, we specialize in removing false, misleading, and damaging reviews so your online reputation stays strong. Our expert team works quickly and legally to clean up your digital presence, helping you rebuild trust. Visit us on the web at www.gowebamax.com. That's GOWEBIMAX.com, or text us for a free quote at 856-840-8343. Don't let bad reviews define you. Get immediate help from Webamax.
This episode is brought to you by Love Hurts. Kiwi Kwan has had quite a career, from childhood roles in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and The Goonies to a recent Academy Award win for Everything Everywhere All at Once. But now Ki finally stars as a leading man in the film Love Hurts. Love Hurts is the perfect date night movie with its mix of over-the-top action, comedy, and a ton of heart. Love Hurts, only at theaters February 7th.
Guaranteed that AJ would be the one that wants to dump it on Sirianni.
Let's see.
And Devontae, and either way.
Uh-oh. Good move there.
Oh.
Great maneuver.
A little okey doke. Oh! What is going on, everybody? Eagles Super Bowl 59 champions taking down the Chiefs 40-22, talking reaction, player of the game, Eagles game in 3 words or less. Joining me, he is Shane Half NFL on X. What's up, Shane?
What's up, man? Just, reveling in a Super Bowl blowout. This is awesome. You could not have written a storybook ending any better I'm assuming this is probably the end for like Brandon Graham, and to see him go out on top, to see the Eagles bounce back after all the collapse at the end of last year, 2-2 into the bye week, and then to go undefeated after that, except for that Washington game where Hurts knocked out of the game. Just incredible. Defense dominant. I'm a little salty the Chiefs got 2 nonsense touchdowns that make it not look as dominating, but what an incredible game.
Also joining us, special guest Anthony DiBona of Philly Sports Network. Go give him a follow on X at DiBona NFL. If you aren't following him and you love the Philadelphia Eagles, you're doing it wrong. What's going on, Anthony?
Man, I'm trying to hang in here with a little bit of voice that I have left, but what an unbelievable stress-free win. I feel like we've been begging for these stress-free games, and of course they had them in back-to-back with the NFC Championship and now the Super Bowl. It's just what an unbelievable ride this season has been, and capped off in the perfect way with this victory.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, if you're watching us live, comment your thoughts on this one. My man, Tech, preach, man. We'll do quick reaction. We'll do grades on the offense and the defense and other different segments, but I'll lead us off. Quick reaction. This is going to be one of the best Eagles teams to go down in franchise history, maybe in the history of the NFL. They straight steamrolled teams pretty much all season long. They were 2 drops away from being 16-1 in the regular season. They just straight up dismantled a dynasty in the Super Bowl. I feel like every single player on this roster took it personally when it was, being called a pretty close game. Josh Sweat, Milton freaking Williams. made themselves so much money tonight. BG capping off his career with a second ring. How does that not give you all the feels? We saw it on offense. The Kansas City Chiefs game plan was essentially to take out Saquon Barkley, but really didn't prep for anything else. My man Jake Elliott kicking with anger all game long. And last but not least, Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, let this sink in, are now the best quarterback and head coach in franchise history. The growth of this team all year, the changes with the coaching, the amazing season from Saquon, the turnaround of the defense. This season will melt in our brains for the rest of our lives. Guys, remember this moment. We are all together to witness one of the greatest Eagles seasons in football history. Let's enjoy this. I'll throw it to you, Shane. Quick reaction.
Man, this was a Vic Fangio masterclass. Jalen Hurts played an incredible game. Has the one interception. I'm sure we'll talk about it. Only sacked twice. Team leader for rushing yards, throws for 221, 2 touchdowns. It was an incredible performance by Hurts. This was nearly a flawless game. If you could eliminate like the 3 false starts on field goals, I've never seen that before. This was like the perfect game. And I swear they were just leaning into it, trying to get Jake Elliott a 50-yard field goal attempt there at the end. But this was nearly a flawless game all the way around, and it wasn't even close. Eagles put up 50 in the NFC Championship game and turn around and put up 40 in the Super Bowl. And the Eagles offense owns Steve Spagnuolo. I mean, even in the loss a couple of years ago, put up, 35 points. I couldn't be happier, couldn't be prouder of this team. Amazing performances across the board.
What about you, Anthony? What was your just quick reaction?
It's just a crazy kind of look back. I know it just ended, but the fact that I felt going into the game that I was like, I shouldn't be this confident. We talked about it before jumping on, but like, I was like, I shouldn't be this confident going into a team that's going for a three-peat. But yet it just felt like the Eagles were the better team from top to bottom, especially with the way their defense was playing. And we saw them have arguably their best defensive performance of the season in the biggest game of the season. It's just the testament to Nick Sirianni, Vic Fangio, Jalen Hurts, all these guys that were doubted. The whole week it was like he was talking about Vic Fangio being 0-8 against Patrick Mahomes, and he ended up winning the game that mattered the most. So just what an unbelievable performance, and I'm excited to dive more into it.
Noom says, I'm so ready for them to be the most insufferable fan of a dynasty in the makings. Could we see the next three-peat in the Philadelphia Eagles with this defense and Vic Fangio? It's for real, man. Brett Eclipse says, three-peat my ass. Guys, one more time, if you're watching us live, please be sure to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. This might be a long show. We'll see what happens. Avante Maddox with the almost pick six. I thought I saw everything. This was a total team effort from top to bottom. I'm not sure who won MVP. Did they announce that yet? I'm not sure.
I think they're getting the stage ready now. I don't think so.
Okay. But on defense, there are a number of players you could say MVP. Cooper DeJean, as soon as he took that one to the house, that was pretty much game over for the Chiefs. Milton Williams, the strip sack. Zach Bond, the interception. Josh Sweat playing possessed. You could go on. Jalen Carter, who has become a guy that we don't praise enough. That's how good he is. How everything is built from him on the interior. Jalen Carter was a menace. I'll throw it to you, Shane. Should we just roll with it, or should we start with the offense?
Maybe we should start with the defense in this one.
We're starting with the defense. Shane is the boss here. Let's start with the defense. Just ridiculous. I mean, you could. I honestly wanted the shutout. I truthfully wanted the shutout for hilarious purposes. But overall, Vic Fangio putting Patrick Mahomes in a blender really from the jump. The Eagles did not blitz whatsoever and got how many sacks? Like 5 or 6?
6. Most of Patrick Mahomes' career.
And they did not blitz a single time. Major shout out to the 4-man pass rush. Major shout out to the playmakers on the other side, from Zach Bond to Cooper to Gene. And that's really been the difference in how many weeks. Defensive takeaways has truly transformed this team in so many levels. Quinyon Mitchell had a nice stick. Milton Williams with the strip sack. Zach Bond doing Zach Bond things. I imagine he's heading to Howie Roseman's office as we speak with an amazing, amazing check. I'll throw it to you, Anthony. Where do you want to go with the defense?
I mean, I'm going to give a little bit of a shout out to the lesser known guys, I guess, and Jalen Hunt and Jordan Davis. I feel like both of them made kind of big plays and big moments where you don't really expect them. I mean, it feels like nobody expected Jalen Hunt to be playing this type of role and having this type of impact so quickly. But I mean, he had they credited for a half sack, but I think he should have got the full one there. But he broke out the bow and arrow celebration, and it was incredible to see, because it feels like Jordan Davis, especially, everybody criticizes him and says he's not much of a pass rusher, but he's had some clutch sacks in the postseason this year, and it was kind of incredible to see him make that play in that moment. And then I mean, even guys like Isaiah Rodgers, who came in off the bench, and I think in one of those dime plays in early and third down and had a pass break up. It's just like the guys that haven't really been getting credit all season long, but they've consistently made plays and stepped up. Nolan Smith, another guy, had another phenomenal play. A phenomenal game. He stepped up. He had 4 pressures, I think, in the first half, then went out with an injury, but came back. I mean, just the entire defense and what Howie Roseman has assembled and what Vic Fangio has done. It's incredible to see this turnaround based on how the defense played last season.
It's incredible that where, this Eagles defense was last year, and then you watch that defense, and then you watch this defense 12 months ahead of time basically shut down the opposing team in the Super Bowl, man. Just what a story. What a story. What about you, Shane?
Yeah, I saw on Twitter that Patrick Mahomes had negative 19.3 EPA in this game, which is the worst of any game in his NFL career. And the Eagles did it by playing their defense. They didn't come in and try to change a lot. They played a lot more quarters coverage in this game, but they didn't try to do anything fancy. They just played the defense. They rode the defense that got them here. And they knew they had favorable matchups against the Chiefs' offensive line, and they just kept pushing that button, and they dominated in the trenches. The coverage was incredible. The Cooper to Gene pick 6 is where the game really just falls apart for the Chiefs, I feel like, because at that point, we're about to come on a halftime show, and I'm thinking, man, the Eagles have dominated this game, but they're only up 10-0, and you're a little nervous. And then you get the pick 6, and then the Chiefs just cannot get anything going. And so the entire defense, like you would be hard-pressed to have me name any defensive player that I didn't think played well in this game. It just seemed like across the board, everybody played great. I mean, you got Avonte Maddox out here getting pass breakups on 4th down. I don't know what the heck that is, but Anthony mentioned Jalen Hunt having some good pass rushes, and Zach Bond makes an incredible interception. Josh Sweat had that. I think I would have to go look at his game logs. I think this is the best game of Josh Sweat's career from a pass rushing standpoint. And by the way, I love that he has 8 pressures and 3 sacks per PFF, and they gave him a 55.5 defense grade. I would love to have a conversation with somebody about that one, but Josh Sweat, incredible. And Josh Sweat had been nowhere. Like, he had 1 sack in the month of December and January combined, and he gets 2.5 sacks tonight. Just a great performance from him. And that's the magnitude of Jalen Carter, right? Defenses have to be so concerned about Jalen Carter, and then you have guys like Josh Sweat and Nolan Smith, and maybe they're not like top-tier pass rushers, but they're good enough when you've got to draw so much pressure to the inside, and that's been the Eagles' philosophy for years with the guy like Fletcher Cox, and they built around Fletcher Cox, and now they're building around Jalen Carter, and I can't wait to see him continue to develop as a pro.
Jalen Hurts is on the podium right now, smiling his ass off, and I'm like, am I in the right universe? Like, what am I watching? We have a guest joining. Ryan, can you hear us?
I gotcha. How the hell is everybody?
We're doing great, man. We're doing great. Are you doing great? Ryan is well known as kind of our homer of Birds of the Round Table. And I'll say he was the one who predicted the Eagles to win by at least 2 scores.
I think I predicted 41-21. So I was right there.
And mic drop.
That's it.
That's all he had to say.
Hurts was named MVP, by the way.
Jalen Hurts named MVP, well deserved. There it is. Let's go into Jalen Hurts. Ryan, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that. I have like 8,000 people trying to call me right now. So
quick reaction. Go ahead before we get into Jalen.
And honestly, this all I could think about was the Jason Kelsey speech. It's the whole damn team. Everybody contributed today, especially on that defense. They were absolutely swarming Patrick Mahomes. I mean, there wasn't a single player on that defense that I didn't have a positive thing. Even Avonte Maddox made a play. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. This team is just absolutely did that. They played like a team, and everybody contributed, and they didn't even blitz, guys. They didn't blitz, and they had Patrick Mahomes spinning. It was magical performance.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into Jalen Hurts here. Named Super Bowl 59 MVP, 17 of 22 passing, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Some miscommunication on the O-line there led to that. And then Jalen Hurts also with 11 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown. A couple of those were big in the second half on third down, getting those first downs. Jalen Hurts was terrific. I predicted this all week long. I thought this was the Jalen Hurts legacy game, and I'm just so happy for him, man. I'm just watching him. This was a legacy game, changing the narratives going forward. I thought in general he was sensational. What about you, Shane? What did you think of Jalen Hurts, and how would you grade it A to F?
I mean, it's an A+. He had a great game. He finishes the game with the highest drop back EPA of any quarterback in a Super Bowl this millennium. And he did it in a game where the run game had nothing. Like Saquon Barkley had 2.3 yards per carry. And all the people that told me that Jalen Hurts was only good because of Saquon Barkley, and this was just a running team, and they are a running team. But when they needed Jalen Hurts to come through, he went 17 of 22 for 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he rushed for another 72 yards and a touchdown. Like, he had big time throw after big time throw from the first drive of the game, going for it on 4th and short, throwing a go ball to A.J. Brown, which got turned over on a ticky-tack penalty. But he had big scrambles. Like, he was awesome in this game. It's an A+ performance, one of the best games of his career.
What about you, Anthony?
I feel like I have to be right there with Shane in terms of like an A+ game. I mean, the interception wasn't the greatest, obviously, but it turned out to basically work like a punt, so no big deal in that regard. But just the way that he played the entire game, it was very it almost looked a lot like his last Super Bowl performance. And now you can honestly say he's went face-to-face or head-to-head with Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl twice and has outplayed him in both games. And that's pretty crazy to say. And the fact that people continue to doubt Jalen Hurts, and Rex Ryan and others have said, hey, you just make Jalen Hurts beat you. You shut down Saquon, which the Chiefs did. But guess what? Jalen Hurts beat them. And it was incredible performance to watch. He was so on point and so precise with his throws. There were a couple there he had the miscommunication with A.J. Brown. Then, like Shane mentioned, he had the one pass that was taken away by the questionable penalty early in the game that would have added a lot more to his yardage total. So just an unbelievable performance from Jalen Hurts. You couldn't have asked for much more, both throwing and rushing the ball. And the fact that he was able to get the things done that he did on the ground, especially like you mentioned in the second half, just a great performance from him overall.
Man, it was just, like Shane said, like proof that the entire offense was so strong. It was not just an offense carried by Saquon. As we have seen the last few weeks with Hurts's pre-snap reads, Hurts's growth reading a defense, Hurts's growth throwing it deep, just truly remarkable. We're getting a ton of comments. A lot of people asking where Pump Man is. He's our resident Jalen Hurts hater. He's yet to show up on this post game. Hope you're doing well, Pump Man. Vic Fangio just masterminded the greatest defensive performance in NFL history. Kamar says we're going back there. There's more competition next season. Farewell, Kellen. I did see a comment because we're doing this live and we're missing the celebration and everything. But apparently Nick Sirianni wants Kellen Moore to run it back. That's not going to happen for sure. Anthony says Mahomes, 2 terrible losses in the Super Bowl now. Devontae touchdown was a perfect throw. I thought Jalen Hurts was making really solid throws pretty much all game. Like just to start, the one throw he had outside the sticks to Devontae to start, that was a really nice throw. And then he really kind of solidified this game with his legs at the end there. But the throw to Devontae was sensational. Jalen Hurts and Kellen Moore, I don't know what else is to be said. I was happy that they didn't abandon the run in the second half. Even though they weren't getting a lot of yards, there weren't a lot of explosive plays. They were dominating time of possession, and they only got like a field goal there in the second half or in the third quarter, I believe. But that was a win. That was a major win for the Eagles. And I give major credit to Kellen Moore. I give major credit to Jalen Hurts for just doing whatever is necessary for this offense to succeed. It's truly remarkable. And the fact that we got a pass attempt from Kenny Pickett in the Super Bowl, it just blows my mind. That is freaking wild. Any other thoughts on Hurts before we get into the run game?
Yeah, I wonder, a game like this really makes you wonder if the Ringer will consider moving Hurts above Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, or Jared Goff in their QB rankings. I don't know. Maybe he is better than Aaron Rodgers at this point of his career. Just think about it a little.
I love Petty Shane. He threw a shot at PFF. He threw a shot at the Ringer. This is the best.
Pump Man, good to see you. Jalen Hurts proved me wrong. The guy showed up and showed out. Just so happy for him. A lot of people are happy Pump Man's back in the chat. Let's roll on to the Eagles run game. Really struggled there for the most part, but at the end of the day, I was really happy with how they stuck with it throughout the second half, and they used the run game to set up the pass down the field. They used the run game to make those explosive plays, and I thought that was the difference. I'll throw it to you, Anthony, first. What were your thoughts on Saquon and the run game?
I mean, I feel like I've been saying this all season long, but it's kind of why you see Saquon Barkley be able to break these long runs, is that they don't mind taking the 2 or 3 yard gains, but the fact that you're forcing these teams to tackle and forcing them to make plays and be physical, it wears on the team overall. And we saw Saquon Barkley, he broke that 10-yard run in the second half. It was a big run for a first down, and it seemed like that's what got them into field goal territory. And like you said, it wasn't like he was breaking these huge runs, but the fact that they were still going with the run game and utilizing it, it did open up the passing game, because we saw a few play action passes from under center. We saw play action passes work in other regards, and that only works if you're able to rely on the running game, even if they do shut it down. There were plenty of negative runs as well, but they didn't stop utilizing the run, and it paid off because it opened up a couple big shots down the field and penalties and other things, and it really paid off their ability to rely on the run.
What about you, Shane?
Yeah, the run game didn't work very well, but the run game opened up a lot of the pass game. And I mean, it's this, right? Late in the third quarter, you're up 27-0. You get the ball in plus territory after you ran a lot of clock off to go kick a field goal to make it 27-0. You get the ball back and you come out and you're able to do this off of a play action, drop back, and Hurts just drops it in a bucket to Devontae Smith to blow the game wide open. The run game might not have worked well in this game, but because the run game was a threat, the pass game just opened up. And, I wanted Saquon to get and Saquon doesn't care at all. I wanted Saquon to get a touchdown in this game. The Eagles wanted Saquon to get a touchdown. You could tell when they were feeding it to him on the possession before. It didn't work out. I think Saquon will be happy with the ring.
For sure. All right. Absolutely. And he's expressed that all year long, how many times this season have we seen him duck and avoid a touchdown for the betterment of the team? That's the entire essence of this 2024 Philadelphia Eagles squad. This team have completely bought into Nick Sirianni and what he means for this team. It's just ridiculous. Jalen Hurts is already the greatest quarterback in franchise history. I'll throw it to you, Anthony. You had an amazing article for PFF, as I remember, ranking the greatest Eagles quarterbacks of all time. Where does he rank?
I mean, you feel like you have to put him first now, right? I mean, Super Bowl winner, Super Bowl MVP. He's going to be a starting quarterback for more than 2 seasons or whatever it was for Nick Foles. I feel like what he's done and what he's going to be continue to doing, he's only 26, 27 years old, and this is just the beginning for him. Like you said, could this be the start of a dynasty? We don't know, but they have a lot of these pieces locked up for the next year or two at least, at minimum. So this could just be the beginning of an incredible run for the Eagles. And we kind of take for granted how successful this team has been under Nick Sirianni. And I know after the 2-2 start, a lot of people, including myself, questioned Sirianni's job security or questioned if Jalen Hurts could ever kind of correct these turnover issues. But he's done nothing but prove the doubters wrong. And Sirianni, I know it's corny, people want to bring up his core values, but tough detail together that he kind of preached the nonsense, that whole Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown incident, like it's really worked, and we've seen the locker room kind of embrace it. And his I know people say like, oh, what does Sirianni really do? But his fingerprints are kind of all over this team and how they played today.
Yeah, just circling back to the run game, I feel like the Chiefs did a great job of swarming on Barkley, but it just showcased how dominant A.J. Brown was as we kind of push forward to the Eagles receivers. A.J. Brown was unstoppable. He only had 5 targets and 3 catches for 43 yards. That one BS offensive pass interference call would have added to those numbers. But the deep ball from Jalen Hurts to AJ and Devontae and Dotson, it was just awesome. Shane, lead us off, man. Any thoughts on the receivers?
Yeah, great game all the way around. Even though that first A.J. Brown catch gets called back on a penalty, that I'll reiterate was a bogus penalty, it still helps set the tone. You wanted the Eagles to not be afraid to challenge the Chiefs downfield. The Chiefs are relying on you being scared of their blitzes and not attacking downfield. And so even though that one comes back on a penalty and they end up punting, I do think connecting on it gave them some confidence to take more of those shots. And we saw them take those shots, and they connected. They didn't connect on all of them, but they connected on a few. And A.J. Brown had a few big ones. The Devontae Smith one that we just showed that was a dagger off of play action to push it out to a 5-score lead. Jahan Dotson getting involved. Poor Jahan Dotson, man. Knee going down at the 1-yard line. Welcome to the Jalen Hurts Vultures Your Touchdowns Club. Saquon's the president, but Jahan Dotson got inducted today. But great performance from those guys, and I like seeing Dotson get involved a little bit. No receiver has an eye-popping box score, but the ball just got spread around to everybody, and everybody except Johnny Wilson had a really good game.
I love seeing Saquon Barkley get 6 receptions. Is that the most? Is that a season high for him? It is. That's the most receptions he had for the Eagles this year. And that was a big key of this game, being prepared for the blitzes from Spags, getting those safety valves, getting those checkdowns ready. It wasn't perfect from Kellen Moore. I will say that. There were times when it was a little ugly, especially against the blitz in the first half. What did you think, Anthony?
I know Shane was definitely pulling his hair out in a couple of those early blitzes where they were just sending all those vertical routes. I was like, you're literally doing what's been killing you all season long and why you haven't been effective against the blitz at certain points. It's just like you didn't have a single in-breaking like quick route for Hurts to even target. But then again, like you said, they did start to get Saquon Barkley involved in the passing game. I love that Jahan Dotson had that catch at the beginning. He had another catch later on, but I mentioned it to Josh Davis that hosts the Philly special. I was like, I wonder, because Kellen Moore, he had the clip from the coaching clinic that like went, I guess, viral during the offseason when the Eagles announced like hiring him. But he kind of talked about playing the long game with his play calls, where throughout the entire regular season, he'll show the defenses this look, and then maybe they never target a guy like Jahan Dotson on a play, but he is open. And then finally they do go for him in these high leverage moments. And it seems like that's kind of what they did in this game with how they utilize Saquon Barkley and Dotson in moments that they normally wouldn't be targeted. So I just think the fact that Jalen Hurts was willing to kind of spread the ball around and target these guys that we aren't necessarily accustomed to seeing. I thought it was going to be a much bigger performance for Dallas Goedert, but obviously they didn't really need it. So at the end of the day, that didn't really matter.
Yep, absolutely. Any other thoughts on the offense before we get into we should get into special teams? We have to touch on special teams.
I guess we could talk offensive line. Mekhi Becton goes to the sideline early, and that could have been a really big deal. Tyler Steen comes in early charting, says he played 13 snaps. So he wasn't in that long. He wasn't particularly good when he was in. And I feel like that's been a theme with him when Tyler Steen gets thrown in mid-game versus when he's like prepped to start. But the offensive line, I thought, did a good job against the pressure looks. And if the Chiefs didn't blitz, Jalen Hurts had all day to throw the football. And that's a testament to the offensive line. The Eagles won the game in the trenches on the defensive side of the ball, and they won it on the offensive side too. So shout out to the offensive line.
Right.
Just one more quick shout out in pass protection. I want to give a shout out to Saquon Barkley. I feel like he had a couple huge blitz pickups, especially on that pass to Jahan Dotson that set up the touchdown for Jalen Hurts. I thought Barkley was going to be rewarded with the touchdown there for his effort in pass protection, but they just went with the tush push instead. But yeah, he did a phenomenal job, as he has done pretty much all season long in blitz protection and picking up those plays.
All right. Special teams, because that was, if not the biggest concern heading into this thing. Jake Elliott finished 4 of 4 from field goal range with a long of 50 that probably would have been good from 65. He was 4 of 4 with his extra points. I don't know what's more unbelievable. Avonte Maddox getting a PBU or Jake Elliott going perfect in the Super Bowl. I'm still trying to soak this in, Shane.
I mean, technically Jake Elliott's 7 of 7 on field goals. We just decided to get an early start on 3 of them.
It's crazy.
I'm glad this was the game in the offseason you left the Jake Elliott misses over under a half off, because I took the over and I hit on it every game in the postseason, and you left it off for the Super Bowl show. And I definitely would have taken the over.
All right. I did that superstition-wise just to, whatever. But Anthony, any thoughts on special teams? They were solid.
Yeah, I mean, Cooper DeJean had a couple nice returns where he broke the first tackle. I mean, the first guy missed, so that was encouraging to see. And then I think Braden Mann had a couple. He had one big punt where he bounced it out the sideline and pinned them at like the 10 and a 9-yard line. That was huge too, to kind of flip the field. So I think overall, Michael Clay's unit's kind of been a little shaky here and there throughout the season, especially like you mentioned, Jake Elliott's struggles. But I guess putting him indoors, didn't have to deal with any wind at all, and he was booming those kicks through the uprights. And the special teams core, even the coverage unit, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. had a good tackle as well, and he honored his dad with the celebration afterwards. So it was a great performance from them overall. Just the whole team from top to bottom had a hell of a game.
Jeremiah Trotter Jr. dropped the axe, and the camera went away from him in the game. And I was so my wife was sitting next to me and was like, "Why are you freaking out?" I was upset at the cameraman, and I'm still waiting to find that video because you heard Eagles fans in the stands erupt when he did it, and we've been waiting all season long for it. I can't wait. There's got to be a video of it somewhere.
It'll be on like NFL Films or something.
I missed it completely.
Oh, man.
I didn't even know. I wasn't aware of that happening at all.
Jeremiah Trotter had a special teams tackle and then dropped the axe, probably because he promised his dad he would do it in the Super Bowl or something. But it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. It was a good one. And right when he was getting ready to do it, it just walked away from the video of him. So frustrating. But anyway, all right, guys, we're gonna get ready for our final segments here. Drop your Eagles game, Eagles versus Chiefs, 3-word reactions down below. I'll throw it to you, Anthony. Who is your Eagles player of the game?
I mean, can I say Jalen Hurts again, even though he got MVP? I feel like
absolutely,
man.
He put the team on his back once again. I mean, the Chiefs wanted to take Saquon Barkley out of the game, and they essentially did, at least as far as running the ball. And Jalen Hurts was able to have answers to the blitz with his feet, whether it was finding the lane or finding somebody open. Even when there weren't routes like necessarily designed to go against the blitz, he was able to kind of take off and pick up some huge gains, especially in the second half. So, I mean, what a performance from him. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes once again in the Super Bowl, like I mentioned earlier. And it just, you couldn't have asked for a better performance outside of that one interception, which was essentially an arm punt. But what a basically flawless game for Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts for Anthony. Well deserved, man. That's where I would have went. What about you, Shane?
I mean, you know my rule.
How many? There's so many interceptions.
My number one rule is if you're a defensive player and you score a touchdown, you're my player of the game. So Cooper DeJean, come on down. You get your first career interception on your birthday in the Super Bowl, and it swings the game. I mean, that was the moment, right? Like, and I mentioned it earlier, but prior to that pick six, you're kind of on the edge of your seat. It's like the Eagles defense has played really good, but the offense hasn't put up a lot of points yet. And then all of a sudden you get a pick six to put you up 3 scores, and the Eagles never look back. So shout out to Cooper DeJean. Incredible performance by him. He only has 1 defensive stop. He's targeted 5 times in this game, gives up 4 receptions, but the one that wasn't the reception was a touchdown the other direction. So shout out Cooper DeJean. You get the MVP.
I would have went Coop as well. And like the winner of the entire Super Bowl is the fact that hopefully this is the end of Coop and his special team role going forward. I am so done with him.
Hey, he had a 13-yard punt return.
I don't care, Shane. I don't care. He's valuable.
Really good at it.
I don't want it. He's too good and valuable to this defense going forward. That was the difference. That was a huge difference in the game, that pick six. I would have went Coop. There's so many ones to go with. Zach Bond, the interception, and his ridiculous storyline this year. Milton Williams, earning that paycheck. He got his bag. I got to go with Josh Sweat. I'm going to go with Josh Sweat as my player of the game. He has kind of struggled over these last few weeks, I think. We saw Jalen Hunt playing more snaps. Rightfully so. I thought Jalen Hunt was terrific today as well. But Josh Sweat, as we have seen, kind of struggles late in the second half of seasons. And heading into the offseason, I think there's a case that he was arguably the biggest winner of the Super Bowl. 2.5 sacks and just being a massive presence in Patrick Mahomes, putting him in a blender all night long. Shane, lead us off, man. 3 words or less.
I just knew that you were going to say like Vic Fangio or something like that.
I played it easy. It's the Super Bowl.
I just had to throw this picture up here on the screen. Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts holding the Lombardi trophy.
That's special, man. That's special.
That's awesome. Okay. Unfortunately, when I did that, I changed my screen share. So let me reshare my screen for the 3 words here. We did not get a lot of responses on this one. I guess a lot of people are watching. We got a lot of people watching the post game. You guys didn't drop your 3 words. Let's go drop them here in the chat live on the YouTube where you're watching, but we'll go through a couple of them here. I don't know what the Chase Utley quote is, but Adam hit us with Chase Utley quote. Ryan says kind of unsatisfying. I was very satisfied by this one, but Nico with the Super Bowl champs. I thought this was funny. Max gave us a start R 3-peat, and the next one from down was no 3-peat. We got a best defense ever. Vic drinks free. And we've got a lot of them rolling in here on the YouTube channel. But my 3-word reaction is just going to be, we did it. We did it. After a tumultuous offseason with lots of question marks and a slow start to the season that had a lot of people second guessing a lot of things. The Eagles did not lose a game the rest of the season, with the exclusion of Jalen Hurts getting injured in the Washington game. Incredible performance. Could not be more happy for this team. Let's go get another one next year. Let's go get another one.
Anthony, do you have a Eagles game in 3 words or less?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Vic frickin' Fangio. I mean, you gotta give that guy credit for how this defense played in this game. It was just an unbelievable performance from start to finish. I know they got some garbage time yardage and scores there, which is unfortunate because it would have been awesome to see 40-6 as the final score. But yeah, his defense, just what he's done, especially since that bye week, since he inserted Cooper DeJean as slot cornerback, it's just the defense looks so much better. And outside of just a couple players, it's not a drastically different team than it was last year when it was one of the worst defenses in the league. So just Fangio's impact has been unbelievable. So I'd have to credit him with my 3 words or less.
Yep. All right, I'll go. Yeah.
Is this the most dominant defensive performance in Super Bowl history?
It's got to be.
I feel like those last couple touchdowns might make it look worse than it actually was. But if you take those away, it had to be, right? So it just especially if you look at, they just didn't even blitz, not once, not a single time. And the fact that they had Patrick Mahomes out there looking like he was Sam Darnold, where he was sensing pressure or feeling pressure when it wasn't even there. It was just such an insane performance. Personally, it's not even being biased or anything. I think it was one of the best Super Bowl defensive performances ever.
The only one I can think of in recent memory that rivals it is the 13-3 game when Belichick just shut down McVay. Yeah. That was several years ago. 2018, I think. It was the year after the Eagles won their Super Bowl, but that 13-3 game was a pretty dominant one. Other than that, you probably have to go back to Super Bowl 50 and see what Denver did to Carolina, but I guess the Seattle, Denver, but it's definitely one of the most dominant defensive performances in recent memory.
I'm going to play it simple. Usually I try and cheat with these things. But my 3 words for this game is the narratives change. There's so many times all season long that Jalen Hurts consistently is viewed within a negative light across local media, across national media. You could probably extend this to Nick Sirianni as well. He was one of the highest voted coaches to be the first fired at the start of the season. All he does is win. And you look at Jalen Hurts, all he does is win. This is a duo that's got this Eagles team on a path, and maybe this is the new three-peat. I don't know, with the youngest defense in the NFL, and hopefully Vic Fangio is going nowhere. I don't think there's any sign that he's going anywhere. But at the end of the day, I think this game is about Jalen Hurts. And I think Vic Fangio threw out a masterclass. But at the end of the day, I thought Jalen changed some narratives tonight. That how many countless national media heads go on to their bogus big shows and throw out stupid takes on Jalen Hurts, but all he does is win. And now he's a Super Bowl champion. So for me, narratives change tonight. I think that's what I said. All right. That's about wrapping it up. Shane, where should we go from here? Should we do final thoughts?
Oh man, I don't know. Let's go. There's a few comments, a few 3-word comments here that we'll throw up here on the screen from the YouTube chat. We've got Tech with a grease the polls. We've got Alante with a defense wins championships. I thought I saw one more I was going to throw up there, and now I don't see it. But anyways, yeah. I don't even know what to say. My head's kind of swimming right now. It's been a long day of pregame and halftime and postgame shows, and my brain is fried. But yeah, let's do it. We can kick it into final thoughts and get out of here and go watch all the DVR footage of Jalen Hurts getting the MVP trophy that I definitely am going to watch after this. Because how are you supposed to sleep after this, man? I'm not sleeping in the next hour.
There's no sleep. Absolutely not. Not tonight. Anthony, final thoughts on this one. Plugs. Time is yours, man.
I mean, I tweeted it out. I feel like this entire postseason, and especially after this performance, I keep going back to Jalen Hurts' quote in December where he was He said it's going to look how Jalen Hurts wants it to look, but he's going to win. And sure enough, he's done it. He had the biggest game of his life, the biggest victory of his life tonight in this game. And it just kind of encapsulates his entire tenure in Philadelphia, where he's just been doubted. Nick Sirianni's been doubted, like you said, and this is it. He looked the way that he wanted to look. It wasn't the prettiest game. It wasn't the biggest numbers, but the Eagles won, and they won the way that he wanted it to win. So just an unbelievable performance and truly a season that I'll never forget. I tweeted it over today that this felt like a season and a team that I was more invested in ever, like as both a writer and a fan. And there was just what a cherry on top to win it this way.
Any content coming from Philly Sports Network? Anything you want to plug, dude?
I mean, I'll just have a couple game breakdowns, I guess, following this one. But right now it's going to be switching to draft mode, right? Which I know we all love as well. So I'll have my meeting tracker, top 30 visit tracker, all that stuff that people can check out. And I'm always excited for this time of the year too. Mock draft season is officially underway, right?
Yep, absolutely. He is Anthony DiBona, DiBona NFL on X, man. If you're a big fan of the Eagles, make sure you go check him out. We have over 2,000 people here. Make sure you go give him a follow. Amazing, amazing Eagles content creator. Shane, final thoughts, plugs, go for it, man.
Yeah, just awesome performance and awesome turnout for the post-game show. Really appreciate you guys following along with all of the coverage this season. I started doing this as a hobby and then got onto BGN radio. And I kind of thought the dream was dead when Vox canceled all the podcasts last April. And so to launch a network this season and to have so many people rally around it and support it has been incredible. Definitely would not be able to put the time into this that I do if it wasn't for everybody that's in the chat right now, everybody that's down listening to this tomorrow on their way to work. So truly grateful for you guys. So happy we got to cover a Super Bowl season in the first year of our network. Eagles Pin Pull Network, every season that they've covered the Eagles, they've won a Super Bowl. So you guys keep supporting the content. We'll keep covering the Eagles, and we'll see if we can start our own three-peat here. But yeah, I'll have film stuff coming out over the next week or so. We'll start transitioning into draft mode, like Anthony said, and I'll be obnoxiously posting a ridiculous amount of mock drafts where there will certainly be like a day 2 player that I fall in love with that will be in like every one of my mock drafts. But so you guys buckle up. You can follow me on Twitter at ShaneHalfNFL. Be sure you're subscribed to the Eagles Pin Pull Network wherever you get podcasts. A lot of content's coming your way. This is just the beginning.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to enjoy this, but like Shane said, tons and tons of NFL draft content coming. This could be a low-key important draft for the Eagles to kind of set themselves up for players under team control going forward. Maybe Myles Garrett's an Eagle. I'm just throwing that out there. No, it's not going to happen. But anyway, it's a very good draft that sets up for the Philadelphia Eagles with their needs. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be doing Birds of the Round Table at Tuesdays and Armchair Scouts doing all the draft content. I've got hundreds of scouting reports on players, graphics, highlight reels. We'll all be sharing them and celebrating this for the next several months. So guys, thank you everyone for watching. Please be sure to give my man Shane a follow at ShaneHalfNFL. There he is. My man Anthony, hopefully the first of many, at DiBona NFL, Philly Sports Network. Go check out all the amazing content he writes, and just an amazing Eagles follower. I just want to say, like, one of my go-tos, like Shane, I'm not an active social media guy, but if I need to catch up on the latest Eagles news and what's going on, DiBona, Half, two of the best right there. I am Deibs, Mr. Crackpot, Eagles Super Bowl champions. I'm geeking out. I don't even know. Who's sleeping tonight? Maybe we need to do a post-game show, Shane. I think that should be a thing because we're not sleeping tonight, right?
We just need like a chill Mario Kart video game stream or something. I don't know.
Guys, go Birds. Tons of Eagles content. Kelly Green Hour tomorrow. Birds of the Round Table, 8 o'clock Tuesday throughout the week. So make sure you lock it up to Eagles Pin Pull on X, on Facebook, on YouTube. Thank you, everyone, for watching Super Bowl champions. For Shane, for Anthony, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.